Always starts a little bit before, so I'm really excited. All right, we are streaming live, it says. So I am going to turn down my YouTube. But I can see the comments. So if you are joining us live on YouTube, welcome. Welcome to this series. Welcome to this kickoff. My name is Lisha Antica. If you haven't been to my page before, you can subscribe and get notifications. We're going to be doing a series. Yesterday, I woke up and just inspiration came through in my meditation of right now, do a series of all the people that you know who have and actively have come home, which is my mission, helping people to come home and tell their truth, live their truth, embody their truth. And I started seeing visions of people come through my head. I'm gonna cry. And I just said what I always do, because one piece of my formula is being inspired, being God-led, without question. And I said, okay. And some people I even just sent a link and said nothing. I thought I was like in telepathic like communication. And it just happened like that. So fast, everything fell into place. So I know that we were in the right time. I know that we're in the right place, you guys. And today is the first interview. And I cannot think of a more perfect person to be beside me here. So I don't have bios. If some people I know personally, other people that are coming into this stream are totally sent by spirit and I don't know. So I'll read their bios. But for Christine beside me, I don't have a bio. So this is what I see in this beautiful woman. We met years ago in some training, one of the many trainings that we've both done. And I have watched her, like she was already so embodied and so in her truth because of your journey. And you can share your journey with everybody yourself. But I have watched her walk through and stand in her truth and stand in her voice and move mountains and throw events and empower women and empower men probably too, to just step into this truth and reclaim their voice in the world. And right now, more than ever, this is our time to do that. And her willingness to walk through her vulnerability and her willingness to speak her truth and to stand in her truth through all sorts of both personal as well as just online and business is like no other that I've seen, that I've witnessed, that speaks to speaking your truth. I was just saying on Facebook, getting ready for this, that right now, we know, like I've been in Toastmasters, I've been a speaker for a long time. We know that speaking is one of the #1 fears. And we are here to eliminate fears. And, this is when no epidemic is going on. So with that said, let me introduce myself really fast. My name is Lisha Antica. I help people to come home to understand your formula of being yourself, authentically be yourself, and to shift your reality by being in your truth. And I have great friends that do the same. And so welcome to this series, Secrets of Being Your Amazing Self. And like I said, there's no rules. Speak from your heart. And let's just begin by sharing who you are and what you stand for.
Perfect. Awesome. My love. Well, I have to hold the mic.
Perfect.
That's how I feel most comfortable. Can you hear me okay? Is it good?
Absolutely. I can. Okay. Yeah.
Awesome. So I, my journey started with actual precancer in my esophagus 18 years ago. And Lisha, it's so interesting because what's happening now kind of mirrors what happened to me 18 years ago, what's happening to us collectively. So you have this big thing that's like you're diagnosed with, right? That you could potentially get this virus. And I could potentially have had I had precancer, but I could have had cancer. And so in these moments when we are dealt with something that's so extreme that we have no recollection of, it's like it triggers all our fight, flight, survival instinct response. And that's just our innate physical humanness that comes through. So that's what we're seeing with the toilet paper. That's what we're seeing. I mean, that's what it is that, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And some people have big families. I mean, it sounds crazy, but it's not, because we forget in that moment and the mind just cycles through. What do I know? What can I do? Where can I go? Who can help me? Same thing happened to me until there is like this silence. And I feel that this is a perfect time for the series because the silence is coming now. We are now starting to settle into this reality of, okay, I see the numbers. And I'm sorry, I jumped right into the COVID.
No, this is why we're here. Let's do it. Like no rules. Right. Like I said, no rules.
Cool.
We're here to serve. Okay. We are service light beings. Let's do it.
And we cannot not talk about the elephant in the room, right?
Exactly.
So it's huge. And, there's something else that'll come with this. But at this time, it's like we're starting to see, paying attention to the numbers. Something doesn't feel right. Something doesn't seem right. But there's a lot of fear running through my system. There's a lot of fear running through the planet. Who do I listen to? What do I believe? And the beautiful message of today is really being in our sovereignty. Knowing, right? Knowing that we do know. We have this innate inner wisdom. And perhaps we'll go here talking about this today because it is the place that I speak from and you speak from. And it's like, it's just an all-knowing honesty, authenticity, realness, aliveness. It's why we're able to look so alive and vibrant in these times, in any times. Despite what's going on around us, which feels and looks like a hell of a lot of chaos. So yes, so there comes to a place where we just start to tone it down. And the beauty is that we can't hear any other noise. We get the message that shit, nobody's coming to save us. Nobody's coming to fix this, right? Everybody's telling us stay tucked away in lockdown and that's it for now. And we're like, what? So if that's the truth and that's what we're all doing, then it is time to go within. It is time to listen to our inner voice. So what happened to me was my soul, we all have this aspect of ourselves. We're all connected in this way and part of the divine sat up inside of my body. I could feel this energy. And because it was for me at 20 something years old, a do or die, I was like, the women I knew back then getting cancer were dead in 3 months' time. And I was teaching. And so it was the mothers of the students I was teaching. And it was very real for me. And so that moment, and right now, many people watching this could be having that moment where they're living in fear, or how am I going to pay my bills, or how am I going to survive, or what if I get this? What if my mother gets this? What if my children gets this? Whatever. How are we going to get through this? And so my soul sat up inside of my body, and it took that for me to finally hear my own inner voice. 18 years ago, I didn't even know. I was prayerful. I was religious. I would go to church. I would pray to God often. I would make offerings. I grew up in a church with family and living this way and making donations and giving back and all of that. I didn't know how to hear the voice of the divine, of God, of source. I didn't know how to receive those messages.
Yeah.
I didn't even know to sit with myself. There was no people really meditating at that point in time, which is so funny now, right?
Right. Now it's like everybody. Mm-hmm.
So I share this because, look, this is, if you choose it to be, our defining moment as a species.
Mm-hmm.
And the message that I got from my inner voice still rings true today, which was at the time, go off and allow your body to heal. All is well.
Mm.
So there
Just
I
say that
was.
one more time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody, I want to invite you to really take a breath. Okay. Because one message that I got putting this together, but as I got in my experience at 13, which was my life or death experience, one of many actually, to go home and tell, was that listening, right? So we have to stop, we have to listen, but we don't know how. And like Christine just said, there wasn't much around you to meditate, right? There wasn't many people around you. We are bringing in this series, we're bringing you right now 2 people at least standing here that do embody this truth. So with us, you can have a transformation. I felt it when she said it. You can have a transformation into this truth. And all you have to do is say yes. And to do that fully, I want to invite you to just take a deep, deep breath. Inhaling and exhaling. And your next one, just say yes. And just hear and feel and be present as Christine tells you truth. And whenever you're ready, whenever you want, no rush. We can breathe forever.
Yes. So the message is go off and allow your body to heal. All is well.
Yes, yes, yes.
And for me, that is the truth that I can return to time and time again. Take care of yourself, take care of your physical body that is in reactive mode to what it is experiencing. It's okay, like a child. So much of this is activating our DNA and ancestral stuff and family stuff and societal stuff and gender stuff and trauma. Like, yeah, allow your body to heal, whatever that looks like for you. And know in your heart of hearts that all is well. And this is the place that you get to commune with your own inner voice.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just getting an awareness that there's that receptivity within, and then there's that acknowledgement that we are collectively here together. So to acknowledge it, put in the comments, whether it's on Facebook, Twitter, like I just shared it, LinkedIn, like I just shared it everywhere, Pinterest, like wherever you're at, like put that comment in there and just say, express like what you just experienced, acknowledge it, affirm it. For me, I feel tingly.
Mm-hmm.
I feel more alive. I feel more trust. I, I feel more connected.
Yeah. Yeah. And perfect, whole, and complete, just as you are right now, just as you've always been. Perfect, whole, and complete.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I could just sit in this forever.
I know. And it's like, I mean, I know we're here and people are going to be watching, and there's a lot of energy being transmitted right now. Something that I did discover that I talk about now because it's so interesting to me is my human design, and that I'm a reflector. And so I never really understood why I could be with all people, like have no judgments or discriminations. I could sit amongst any people and sit and have conversations. And I love that. And yet at times I felt very much in my own space, as if I was just like sending out messages, or people would come to me for guidance from when I was very small. They would like ring the bell to, can Christine come out and play? Then they would tell me of all of their trials and tribulations at like 8, 9, 10, and they would consult with me. And I was okay with that because I felt like I had a lot of wisdom to share. And that's really important for me right now because I've been feeling, and so maybe there are empaths listening and people who are spiritually attuned and feel in their body, what's happening. And I've been like transmuting a lot of these energies happening right now. And I think that we all are. So anything from, the heaviness or the tiredness or the headaches, and I had a spiritual mentor say to me recently, because I had judgment on it. I was like, I'm healthy now and I'm older now. And like, I don't know why. This was like a month ago. I was in bed for like 2 weeks. I knew what was coming. My body was already in process of this. And now that, it's happening in this moment, I do feel more equipped to speak up about it with you, to speak up and share like what's really true, what's really happening, what we get to focus on now, which is beautiful. But I just wanted to say that if anybody is tuning in and you're feeling the impact of this, the heaviness, so tired. We just had the new moon come through yesterday. I mean, right?
I know. Like, are you serious? Of course it's a full moon or new moon.
I know. New moon, all the subconscious stuff coming through. So we're all connected. And it brings me great. So I had the spiritual mentor said to me, I was like, I don't understand this. I'm so. She's like, why are you judging it? Just let it be what it is and trust again, trust. So this is a good conversation to have, is this one of trust.
That was my lesson last year. Huge lesson.
Yeah. Tell us.
Yeah.
What?
Well, no, you.
I want to hear a little bit of what you learned.
There's a deeper level of trust. For me, I had felt like I had come to this place in my life where I had created all that I was told to create and completed the big projects. I'd put together the trainings. I'd put together everything. And there was like this silence from the world. There wasn't an receiving. So I was on empty. And I was told that I could love myself and self-help myself and do habits of self-love enough in each of what I call my 6 personal power zones. And that would fill me up enough. That would be the fullness. And it was just a lie. It was just a lie. Because I got very good at that, really, really good at it. Because there's a community, right? And so it goes into this empathicness. And I am a generating manifester, my human design. And so I was always not knowing why I wanted those promptings from the outside world, why I needed the affirmation before I followed this internal God. And I was always 2 or 3 years ahead. So I'd create a program, and then 3 years later, somebody else would create a similar program and they'd make buku bucks. And I'm like, but I've been trying to tell everybody this for 3 years now, right? And it was really frustrating. So I got to a place of complete surrender. I mean, unattachment from my life's work, unattachment from my family, unattachment from the world, my own self-isolation. And I can go pretty dark and pretty deep. I I tried to take my life in my own hands. Let's just put it that way. And I was told that my life is not in my own hands very clearly. That it's a journey of trust. And it's a journey of trusting that I know all the things and I was 3 years ahead and I was seeking this outside external affirmation of what my next step was. And it was okay. It was what I was supposed to follow, right? Like yesterday, when I put together the series, I said yes to the Lord, knowing that this time around, so I don't create without that support, that if I put one message out into the world and it was a no, I wasn't going to push it. I would wait for the world to prompt me to give him this gift. That didn't happen. It was like, boom, done, graphics, right? But that was what I needed. So now, knowing my human design, I trust more that it's not a insecurity for that outside prompting, but I don't have to spin my wheels and work 3 years ahead of time before the world was ready to receive what I had there to offer, right? I could wait and be in that juiciness. And that my work here isn't fully mine. That although I'm a sovereign being and I'm unattached and I've gone through this spiritual awakening and the awareness and the creation and everything I need and supply and everything that was asked for me to supply is complete that I know of so far. It will be used when it's ready, when the time comes, and for me to just relax and know that all is well, all is taken care of. And that is that step that I had to trust, that I had to surrender, that I had got the opportunity to say yes to life, however life showed up. And it shows up in really weird ways. Like I became a foster parent this week.
Wow.
And it wasn't really chosen. Like I didn't choose it. It was like, this is what you're doing. Fill out this paperwork. Here you go. Boom, boom, boom. And I was like, okay. All right. Okay. This is how it's going to be. Okay. Right. And so it's that trust. That's how it came up for me, to be really vulnerable and transparent with it. It came up with, there's a collective and there's a time and there's a waiting and there's an awareness. And I was asked to do these things 3 years ahead of time because of whatever. And maybe it's a Picasso moment. I think that's why I wanted it to be a Picasso moment, right? I wanted to be like, if I need to get out of the picture for this work to be in the picture, then so be it. I will sacrifice, I will martyr, right? And then I was very clearly said, you're not going to get any woo-woo stuff this time around. Like you're not going to get any fancy work or anything like that. We're just going to not let this affect you at all. No special treatment for you, girl. Like Jesus didn't appear aside of me. There was nothing. I've had incredible experiences, but it did not happen. Like I was like, why didn't that work? I really did a good job.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, how do you trust somebody else's love? How do you trust the universe to support you? How do you trust your friends and your coworkers? How do you trust the external? Now that you know how to trust the internal, divine guidance so well. And that's how it appeared to me. So how about you?
Yeah. I mean, trust is, and trust to me feels good. And I know it's counterintuitive, but when you sit in it and you really surrender to it, suddenly you're flowing down the stream and you're brought to like all these places that in your human mind you never would have gone to on your own or chosen for yourself.
Yeah.
And so the big picture of life, where it's guiding you, where you're led, of course, you get to still choose. But when you surrender into the trusting, I find the miracles. So I actually now, like I trusted in that moment in the doctor's office, not just myself, like go off, allow your body to heal, like my full body. I was like, oh, I trust my body's going to heal. I don't need anything else out here. I trust myself that I will know what's right for me. I trust that I will use my voice to speak up because it matters that much. And it led me on a journey of healing. It only took 3 months to heal because I was in surrender and going with the flow, and all symptoms subsided and have not been back in 18 years without the drugs, without anything.
Yeah.
So I had learned from that experience still what I use today. And it is the place of, I don't naturally want to trust.
Yeah.
It's like, right? It's like,
hard.
It's hard.
Yeah. And it doesn't always look the way that you want it to. And there's a deeper awareness of knowing yourself there. What's coming up for me right now very strongly, and I don't know if you want to talk about it, but you went through a shift a year ago, 2 years ago, of truth and accepting the truth. And you showed up in the most, this is one reason why you're here. And I think you came through. Although I love your voice and your story there. You showed up in your truth and in your trusting and vulnerability, as your life shifted, as your kid's life shifted in such a powerful way, and trusting the unknown, the uncertainty, which is what we're all in right now. So if you want to, I know you know what I'm talking about. So if you want to share that huge shift, and I mean, there was room. I mean, you talked about all the lower dimensional emotions. You talked about the shame. You talked about the fear. You talked about the guilt. You talked about the hiding and the not being able to hide anymore. And like all of those low, what I call the emotional maturity that I teach, like they're the low, dense, muddy, icky things that we just want to depress.
Yes.
That get us sick in times of uncertainty. Anyway, I'll let you take it from here. I'm going to drink some coffee. I just opened up Pandora's box. I feel.
You know, I feel like this conversation. So it is one of leaving a relationship and a marriage of 11 years, a relationship of 15 years, and for me, it was all perfect. Looking at it now, the person, our relationship, what he needed, what I needed, like the dance and the commitment. I literally became the person that I am meant to be and live and exist as, because
I affirm that. I saw it. It was beautiful.
Oh. Thank you. I didn't know you were watching.
Oh, I've been watching forever. I watch my friends. When there's a soul connection, when there's like an unexplainable like soul tie for who knows why, like I watch. I'm quietly observing and cheering you on, going, yes.
And I share very freely, and I know that it serves to share as you're even moving through it. If you can move through it from a higher place, and I felt like everything I did, every decision I made, was so beautiful. So yeah, I was married for 11 years, and my former husband had a secret addiction, but I had known about it. But I thought he had healed from it. And I know he had relapsed a few times, but I didn't really know what was going on behind the scenes. And I would do all my coaching stuff like, look, if you want to go through this, if you really want, I'll be here for you, I'll support you. I was so selfless. And now, if you knew me as a young girl, I think many of us can identify with this. I was very cocky. I was very much like, well, what is somebody else going to give me? And how are they going to make my life better? And how, like kind of, who's going to be a man and really perform these roles? And I put a lot of like expectations and a lot of pressure. And in former relationships, like even in my teenage years, I would not have entertained any of this. First time, like, and things like this had happened to me where I was like, oh no, goodbye. And that's it. And perhaps it was for the children, because I could see in their eyes and I could see that they didn't understand. There was also a lot with this specific person and how he lived his life and what he desired. Very, very powerful soul, very beautiful. And also making really terrible choices, really harmful. And so I was witnessing all of this, and I was staying, and I was really like entwined in it all. And what I can say that I know now is that I was disassociating. I was kind of doing what I would say, so many people do today or have done, where like, oh, just focus on the happy. Oh, and you're all like bubbly and
spiritual bypassing by here.
Yeah, spiritual bypassing.
That's what they taught the spiritual crew, right? They taught
it's like focus.
Just be positive and all be good. It'll all turn out good.
Well, there was that, but there was also what they taught us in church, which was be a devoting wife. And I think I still
stand by your man.
Seriously, like as I'm standing here, this is not a coincidence that I have this right in my thing. The power of a praying wife.
Yes, all over the house.
Everything I was going through, it's just so, oh my gosh, I can't even. Yeah. And so I reached out for support. I didn't live with this on my own so much, but it was almost like everybody was allowing me to figure this out and go through it on my own. And yeah, I was like staying in my own space, but that's not the way you have a relationship. Hello, and I didn't know differently.
Yeah.
Until I just was so connected. I was so connected to source, and it was like very loving, but it got, I'm very stubborn. I'm very stubborn. I'm a Taurus. And so I would just like, we're going to try, we're going to keep going. I couldn't figure it out. And it was my own naivety, I suppose, as well, about what addiction actually is. Mm-hmm. And I didn't understand it the way that I could have. I tried everything. I unturned every rock possible looking for this answer. Mm-hmm. And finally, it got so bad that I had this moment, this really profound moment of truth, where I was just like, oh, this is what he's choosing. This is not my life. Why am I living this life? This is not a life. These are not choices I would ever make. Why is this okay with me? And so it was through that I reclaimed my own sovereignty and said no more, and did so in a beautiful way that I knew it had to come to this in order for it to be transformed, I knew everything had to burn down to the ground. And I went there. So talk about like trusting and not knowing and all of this. Like I went there and I just walked away. But not completely, which is interesting. Like not walked away in the way you would think, like wash your hands and I'm done with you kind of a thing. This is how I know it's like my life path and perfectly orchestrated for me specifically, because I still love this man today and I will always love and care about him. And he has cleaned himself up and he is doing amazing now.
Beautiful.
But it took, and it's like, love somebody and let them go, love somebody, but you can't be with them, love somebody, but let them be who they are. Like all of those messages came through and I was just like, okay. And I will say what I saw also from that, because I ended up like just not, I didn't know I was like, who am I? Like I cried for a month when before that I had always been like, I can do this. I've got it. Don't worry. I'd always be like, I cried for a month, like every day, almost all day, trying to hide it from, and I was so deeply sad because I didn't know what was going to happen from this moment.
That uncertainty is the most painful piece. Another person that's going to be on this series, Molly Sapp, was talking about the uncertainty of not knowing the next phase. So we're so scared to step into this greatness, our amazing self, right? And it blocks so many people. And also the trust that you're talking about is just like, right? And I think it's coming up as a collective for us to really open to the uncertainty. Like, what do we know? We don't know.
But here's the thing that happened, that I had this really profound insight as everything was crashing and burning, according to my, like, I chose it, I'm like, I couldn't be like, you did this to me. Like I chose it. That was the most difficult thing for me, was I had to be the one to choose, because he wouldn't, nothing else would change. I had to choose this. So I did. And when I did, and I saw everything just burning down, all the like, they were all illusions of what like my heart wanted or thought was a vision of, they talk about like white picket fence, but like all the things I thought we were building together for one day when, just stay in the marriage, keep doing the things, for one, you'll just keep doing it. But as I saw it all collapsing, I got to this place. So any of the listeners today, maybe this is a place we're at right now. I got into this place that there was nothing, a place of like nothingness, who I thought I was, what I thought I had, all the things I thought I controlled, blah, 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 burnt to the ground. Yep. And I just stood there like everything is gone and there is nothing now. Now what? And I swear it was like in a few moments that I could see, now anything is possible, Christine. Like anything that you've ever wanted, anything that you've ever wanted to create or whatever, anything is possible because you're at this place of like nothing. And I cried and I laughed and I was like, I can't believe that this is how it is. But it had to come to this. Otherwise, I would have kept lying to myself. I would have kept living in distortion. I would have kept pushing my way through this life, trying to make something work from where I thought I could make it work, which was conversation after conversation after I'm the voice person. I'm going to talk and, would talk and all, but like that, if somebody is not in them and they, like it took that. It took me saying, I value, love, and honor myself so much that I will not allow this to happen one moment longer while I stand here and allow it to happen.
So I know you're on the other side of that bridge. So if you're listening and you're in it somewhere, anywhere in this journey, and I really feel like that burning down, have nothing, lost everything, like that's definitely where I was, years ago. And multiple times in my life, but really I think it's happened to so many people the last couple years, on whatever their level, whatever your story is. So if you're there, maybe you're still fighting it. Just know that you're not alone. Know that this is part of the journey. Know that you are, it's okay to feel all the feels, to spend the month crying, to go into those whatever is, and at the same time stand in your worth and your value. Now you've crossed that bridge. I've watched you. What does it feel like on the opposite side?
There's so much. Life is so rich. It's like you honor and value yourself in such a way that you just do not tolerate suffering. The choice making is very, very different. But the feeling is worthiness. The feeling is like we learn from each other. And if we, like, how many women are, even if you're listening to this, if you're not listening to this, again, this message, it's like, how many of us stay in things and situations and jobs and projects and marriages and whatever, because we think we don't have a choice, or we think it will be worse off if we left. And this is where the juice of life is, because not only did I connect to a power inside of me that I never knew I had, even though I had access to my inner voice. It was so interesting because this was like my own soul's experience. Mm-hmm. But not only did I feel into that, and this came into my life of who I am, I came into my own life. I landed here inside my body as a real person, instead of people would talk to me back in the day. They'd be like, oh, you're so out here.
Energetically powerful, but not at home yet.
Yeah.
That's what I felt from you.
Right?
I felt like, I was like, oh, she landed.
And that's the next piece. Not only did it happen for me, as me, through me, it also happens in every other relationship that I have now. And I've ever had. I had best friends, come up to me a few days afterwards, after the divorce or after whatever, and they were like, you are so different now. And I'm like, really? What do you mean? And it's like, they're like, I can't explain it. Like, we always loved you and you're not, but now it's like, you're real and you value your time, and you've stopped trying to escape something. Alive in these times for this conversation right now, interestingly enough, this can be foreshadowing for what is happening right now. Mm-hmm. And what's to come for so many is this moment of truth. And it's like when you get here to this place, there's no turning back. It's pretty cool. And you become a freaking badass. Like, if I ever thought I was a badass, I mean, you really become someone of integrity. Your soul has this like integrity. People call it alignment. But it's like you do what you say, and the way that you think, and the way that you treat other people, and the way that you treat yourself. I mean, I was supporting women and like exiting their marriages and doing all this other, but also supporting them in this dance of it taking a long time, of turning over every rock first just to be sure. It's like, come on. But this is what I was doing. And I was supporting them in leaving marriages, getting married, whatever it was happening. But I was like scratching my head, like, what's going on? What's going on? I know my time is coming, because I was very, and still am, connected to my word and my commitments, but I couldn't see it until it was delivered to me on a platter with a huge car accident, and everything got really real. And pretty much God, source, the universe showed me, this is what's going to happen. This is, now that because for such a long time, like I didn't know. And there was all this I didn't really know. Once I knew, it was like, once I knew, I was still entertaining the fact of, well, we're still going to dance, not living to, like, I was like taking all these steps to slowly, and then it was like, boom. And I was like, oh my God, okay, this is not going to work for me. Like, this is not going to work for me. And okay, God, I get it. This is where the train is headed. I'm stepping off here. Like, I'm not going to just be dragged and crash and burn.
Yeah.
Aren't you glad you asked?
Oh, beautiful. I am, and I, people, as you go through the series, or if you've ever seen me, like, I'll start doing this. And when I'm doing this, it's coming from God. I have this, like I talk about all the time. It's like this tunnel hole, like right here, like right to chairs on this side. It's like, and that's what I know. I'm no longer thinking. It is being channeled, it's being told to me. And sometimes, Christine, I don't want to. I'm like, this is like in coaching and stuff. I'm like, I don't want to ask her that question. I don't want to show him that direction. I don't want to bring that up. Please don't make me stir that pot, right? But I do. And I think that's what makes us great, is we have that internal knowing, that hearing, to kind of step beyond ourselves and listen to that call. So I want to thank you for standing in your truth, for standing in your voice, for continuingly, because there's, the more I up level, the more I surrender, the more I walk into my truth, the more I realize that there's a next level, and there's a next level, and there's a next level. And that's just the most beautiful thing, is like, you guys, we're not getting anywhere. Like, as soon as we get across the bridge, we get to walk into this pasture or up the hill or mountain or wherever you're going next, and your journey continues. And there's that uncertainty. We're just more apt to be in it. And this coming home is a journey. And it's like, we come a little bit in, and we come a little bit more in, and we get more comfortable, and we come a little bit more in, and we come a little bit more in. Very few people are like enlightened like that. So wherever you are on the journey, wherever you heard Christine and her path and her story here, wherever you relate to her and her relatability, know that you are in the perfect spot. And you don't need to jump anywhere, but embody where you're at. Embrace it fully. And know that there is so much more coming when you surrender. So we have a comment. I don't know what it is, but I'm excited. So Maylin, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right.
Malin.
Yay. She says, yay. And she goes, ha ha ha, I so understand now. So I guess that's for you. So yes, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for joining us. In this, and as we wrap it up here, is there anything else you want to share? No, everybody, I want you to know that this whole event each day at 1:11 Alaska time will be here on YouTube. You can subscribe, turn on those notifications, all of that good stuff to be here. But everybody that's coming here is able to hold their own frequency as I hold my own frequency in the place that we are currently, without judgment, for the most part. And you can tap into this frequency and be here to practice being with people that are being in themselves, being home in themselves. And from this experience, discover that internal knowing of what is you and what is collective, what is them, what is other. And when we can be when we can be home, then that's when the trust and the truths and the voice and the uncertainty and uncomfortability can be released. And as a whole, we can heal. And that's what I have to say. What do you have to say?
I love it. Yes. Well, I feel your truth. I honor it, and it's so beautiful because, as you were saying, like sometimes you just get the stuff. It's right from source. I believe that our voices are here as an expression of the divine as well. And there are divine truths and divine knowledge and divine wisdom that we are here to impart on others. And that comes from sharing of stories as we did today, having conversation as we have today, asking questions or comments as we're doing today. And in these times right now, we are being invited to really find our own voices so that we can be the sovereign beings we came here to be and choose into our experiences. So whatever's happening right now, and there's like a lot of fear and all the stories, like nobody knows for sure what's really going on, but we do know for sure what's really going on within us. And I will tell you, what COVID has brought up for me has been, what I found was the most interesting thing was like a lack of food for my children. Like that came up like all of a sudden, like, okay, like I could, what it was like, I can't get out. I won't be able to get the fresh, cause we eat a lot. I mean, I cook all our meals and like the kind of life that I live, it's just very like, I'm always shopping or getting food from the farms. And I was like, how is this going to work? And that was something old that came through for me. But what I remembered was that there's always enough and we are always supported and we are always safe. So in these times, and many people are now dissatisfied with the leadership we have in the world, and they're feeling the call to lead, the call to share their gifts, the call to have the impact as you have with this series. But it's like, how can I do that? Or what do I do? Or how? And voice, to me, the way I define it, and you can take it, you can do whatever you want, or you can let it go if you don't agree. Voice to me is this inner connection from the divine, from God, and it's an outer expression of you, of how you voice, how you give voice, how you do a series where you're collecting the voices because you're feeling the call that it's time right now. And that requires you to be in your leadership, your sovereignty, your inner knowing, your worthiness. It requires like a beautiful sovereign leader to stand up now and say, hey, I see a void of something that I can fill. And let me just step out and share my voice and see if others are ready for this. And just in a day's time, it was like boom, 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 boom. Beautiful. So it came through you, love, today. Like this is all coming through you because you answer the call and you're so tuned in, dialed in. And this is what our people need to just witness, see, hear, and experience right now. This is not what the media puts out. It is the exact opposite of what the media is perpetuating. So it's beautiful to know that we can have these types of experiences here on YouTube and lives, and no matter where we are, that we can answer the call and kind of pull ourselves back in. Thank you.
Thank you. I receive that. I receive it. So everybody, thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for answering the call. Thank you for letting us serve and be and do our thing. And, I feel this is the part that I'm always like, oh, and my coach would be like, and now it's time to step up to the plate, dear. But I know that we both do serve. We both are here to serve and help people cross the bridges and everything. So we might as well share how people can get a hold of us if they feel so called. Just the invitation. So how can people get a hold of you, Christine?
I feel like I'm all over the universe. Just tap in.
Right, I'm all here. Right, exactly.
All you had to do was like, and I'm like, boom, I'm there. And it was the perfect day, perfect moment. Like I had a lull in my, and it was like, do you want to do this? Yeah. So Facebook, Rock It Out Woman, WOMAN.com, rock, ROCK, IT, out, OUT, woman, WOMAN, because that's how I like to live my life. No matter what's happening, I want to feel that vibration of being alive and really living this life to the fullest, whether I'm going through my dark night of the soul or I'm rising and soaring or it's happening all at once. I want to have the full human experience. Yeah. So that's where Rock It Out Woman is from. And you can find me Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever, all over.
All of the places.
Yeah.
Myself too, just lishaantica.com. And then we have a community of teachers and everything at yourownuniversity.com. And Facebook and LinkedIn and all that jazz. So don't be shy, like reach out, say hi, ask questions, tell us what you think, what you experienced, answer your calling and speak your truth. And that's what today is all about. I love you. I love you, sister. I love you. I love you. I love you. And thank you for kicking off this event for all of us to speak our truths and step into our voices. Yeah, it's time. I love you too. Time. Just so you know, in case you don't know already, but I know you do. I love you. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. This will be on YouTube forever.